Do you prefer coding in the morning or at night?
Morning. I'm a morning person.
Okay.
Early morning.
When you have a bug, do you debug manually or you ask AI for fixing it?
Both. Manually first.
Okay.
But then if I'm lost, then AI.
For making non-trivial queries, do you use Eloquent or the DB facade?
Eloquent first. If it fails, then DB facade.
For debugging, DD or Xdebug?
DD.
Oh yeah, DD for life. Last question. Did you ever apply to work at Laravel?
No, because 5 years ago I realized I'm unemployable by Laravel or whoever. It would be an honor, but it would not fit my lifestyle with family, so no, I have not.
Povilas, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hello guys, my name is Povilas Korop from Laravel Daily YouTube channel, pretty popular one, and here I am presenting to you two Toronto PHP and Laravel meetup, and I will talk about AI specifically. Because in addition to my main Laravel Daily channel, which is like almost 10 years old, I also have a new hobby in a way, AI Coding Daily, with already 3,000 subscribers and 41 videos, so I've experimented with AI, with Laravel specifically, quite a lot. And unfortunately with time zones I cannot present it in live mode because it would be middle of the night for me, so we arranged with Bob that I would present it as a video, answering typical questions that you guys raised in previous meetups. So Bob summarized them for me, and I have a list here, and we will go through 10 questions here in my Obsidian. But before I do that, I want to thank you Toronto guys for raising this guy from Lithuania. So I'm not sure if you're aware, if you're a basketball fan, but 10 years ago, roughly 10 years ago, Lithuanian guy Jonas Valančiūnas debuted NBA, specifically in Toronto Raptors, and he was there for like 8 years or so, and he became even a bigger star in NBA with the help of your basketball club. So thank you for that. This is my kind of biggest reference to my home Lithuania in Toronto. And now let's get to the questions. I haven't actually prepared too much because I have pretty limited time because one of my kids is sick. As usual, it happens in autumn all the time. You cannot plan timing anytime because at least one of the kids gets flu, and then you have to deal with wife who is doing parenting stuff. So anyway, almost off the cuff, I will answer those questions in almost live mode. Question number 1. What PHP specific AI tools should we be using? To be honest, there is no PHP specific AI tool. They are all more or less general purpose, trained on all programming languages. Probably specific to Laravel is Laravel Boost package, and I'm pretty sure we will talk about that quite a lot in this video. So here it is on GitHub. It's already starred 2.7k stars on GitHub, and what it allows you to do, it gives you Laravel documentation, the latest one, but not only Laravel, also ecosystem of Laravel like Framework, Livewire, Filament, and others, to avoid AI getting off the rails with questioning and using not the latest versions. So Laravel Boost is probably the most PHP specific thing that you would use in AI, specifically for Laravel Framework. And now I'm reading question number 2, which is basically the same question, so I already answered that. I don't work with Symfony much, so maybe, or actually I saw something with Symfony AI. Yep, found it on Google. So in July they released Symfony AI initiative. I don't know exactly what that is, but it was on my Twitter somewhat, so if you are into Symfony, I probably advise you to read that with more details. Question number 3, software development AI tools that you have discovered. Well, everyone wants to know the tools, but working with AI, it's not about the tools as much as I discovered recently. It's more about your prompts and workflows and context. Whatever tool you use for AI in the background. And by AI, in this case, I'm talking about AI agents to help you write code, like Cursor, like Claude Code, like Codex, and there are many others and many models, but whichever you use, they are all pretty good enough. They differ in UI, UX, in some pricing, but even the pricing is relatively similar. And even on my Laravel Daily website, in the courses section, I have courses about AI, and I've chosen to review all three: Cursor at the time, Claude Code, and then PHP Storm with Junie. And also I would add to that list Codex CLI from OpenAI with GPT-5. It got much better, so I'd probably need to shoot a course about that. But whichever of the IDEs you use, they're all pretty good enough. It's more about habit and UI experience. The next question, there was shock about how much some of the AI models cost. What is your opinion in general? With specific models, what is your advice? So with models, if you use AI to generate code, probably it's more appropriate to talk about subscriptions to IDEs clients, which give you the access to certain models. So you don't specifically buy Claude Opus, for example, or GPT-5, you buy subscription from Anthropic or from OpenAI. And I had a video pretty recently on AI Coding Daily channel. This one, top 5 AI coding IDE prices compared. So if we compare the pricing of those subscriptions, VS Code with GitHub Copilot and GPT-5 is the best kind of value for money, which starts at $10 per month. And pretty close pricing are Claude Code with $20 per month, which is inside of Anthropic Pro plan, and $25 per month is OpenAI with GPT-5 and Codex CLI, but both of those allow you also access to the web. So with that you get ChatGPT Web Pro version or Plus version, whatever it's called, and Anthropic also Claude Web. So I would probably choose one of those subscriptions currently on the market: Claude Code with ChatGPT Pro plan or VS Code with GitHub Copilot Pro. And getting back to this question, shock about how much some of the AI models cost. Maybe there's a shock for vibe coders or for someone who is using AI extensively for a lot of time, but then the price usually still pays off if you calculate the amount of money you can potentially save. But of course, it again depends on how you prompt AI agent. So of course it can get off the rails, and it depends on the project as well, but in most cases, if you prompt it correctly, it saves a lot of time. Next question, how good, how relevant models are in comparison with each other? It seems what is good today is not as good tomorrow. Yes, that's very true in AI, because I will show you one example from one of my presentations about AI from another meetup. So here's an example. Someone, Josh Pickford, pretty known person on the internet, spent an hour with Claude Code and then switched to Codex to perform the task successfully. But same person, after 17 hours, retweeted his own tweet and spent an hour with Codex and switched back to Claude Code and delivered successfully. So it's all changing, not only model from model like in a month, but also for same people, for same project, different models and different IDEs may be good or bad on the same day. And also there's this thing, I call it LLM cycle. So whichever is kind of the best model on the market, it usually changes 1 month at a time, or every few weeks, or every other day almost. There's a guy on Twitter, I don't remember his name, so he retweets that image whenever the new model is released, moving this "you are here" somewhere down the circle in another place. So for example, Gemini 3.0 should be the next model. And by the way, I'm shooting that. Today is October 27th. So it's way earlier than your meetup is. So I hope nothing fundamental has changed over the last 10 days, but with the world of AI, it's totally likely. So I'll probably stick to fundamental advice on the principles, and then whichever model is best on November day when your meetup is, that may totally change. But the thing is, that is pretty normal, and the differences in the models now currently, they are not that big. Again, I will repeat, they are all good enough. Like they will all give you 80% of the results, and then some of them in some cases will give you up to 90%, but it mostly depends on your context than on the model itself. The next question: in a recent video, find it helpful models at the command line. So yes, CLIs for AI getting more and more popular. So for example, there's now GitHub Copilot CLI, a new thing, there's Kilo Code CLI from what I remember, and now the newest I saw on Twitter was Kimi CLI. So yeah, it feels like all of the IDEs and models, they try to launch something in the terminal because developers are getting used to that with Claude Code. So my workflow is this: I often use Claude Code or Codex in the terminal. So what I do is I launch it in the terminal but inside of Cursor. And what it does, if I launch Claude here, for example, yes, continue, and then I start typing the prompt, generate me something, fix something, and stuff like that. And then I don't even look at the code, but I mention the code as a developer, so I'm not vibe coding, but I mention like database seeder and then add some seeder, something like that. And then it all happens in the terminal, kind of like a dialogue with AI agent. And then whenever some changes are made by agent, they are opened immediately here in the cursor with IDE integration. So it's the best of both worlds. If I use AI for agentic use case, it's more convenient, to be honest, with CLI. At first it was weird, but then it forces you to think more, to plan ahead, to provide better context, and basically think about how to interact with AI with better results to be achieved, instead of looking manually through the files and then filtering what you actually need. But again, it depends on scenario. If I want to code more, if I know exactly what to do and I feel it's faster manually, then of course I launch IDE like Cursor, which is best at auto-completing. For example, if I hit enter whatever, it would suggest something, and those suggestions sometimes are scary accurate, almost the same thought as I was thinking at that second. So it depends on the task. Sometimes I'm coding more, then I use Cursor as IDE. If I'm into agentic coding to offload something to AI, like generate a CRUD, generate a demo for something, then I use Claude Code in the terminal or Codex CLI, or sometimes both. I launch something in one and then give another to review the code, and somehow I got used to that terminal use case. But it's hard to explain until you actually try and experience it for yourself. The next question: have you used orchestration websites tools for AI? I'm not really sure what that actually means, orchestration, so I'll probably skip this question because it's unclear to me. Maybe with more examples, maybe Bob could provide it and I could answer that maybe separately via email while I'm on holiday. So yeah, let's move to the next question about AWS outage last week. So for you it will be like 3 weeks ago, but probably you will still remember that. Have you heard if they're using AI, had to do anything with that? There are a lot of memes on the internet of like AWS or Amazon. One of the business guys was proud that they're using AI a lot, and now we have outages like this. I'm not sure. I don't know a lot of details. I just know that one of the region was down, which actually affected Laravel Cloud and Forge deployments from what I remember, and Vapor somewhat. So I was talking to Florian from Laravel core team at Meetup in Austria. So he told me that it was somewhat affected for specific regions, so deployments didn't work well, but it was just for a few hours and nothing really major for Laravel specifically. But worldwide, that outage was pretty huge, I know, because for example, for me, for Laravel daily website, Paddle didn't work, the payment provider, at all. So people couldn't buy the memberships, which is like directly financial consequence. So yeah, it's not fun. But is AI to blame for that? Probably not. I saw somewhere online, and now I've Googled that there's official post-mortem from AWS outage, so you can Google that and probably read some more. So yeah, there's nothing about AI here. It was just single point of failure and fingers DNS, something like that. The next question, second to last: is it worth using specification tools and prompting less? I'm not a big fan, so this one is kind of towards vibe coding to me. If you prepare the whole specification of your whole project and then offload that to AI, I'm not a big fan of that. Yes, it can work for smaller scale demo projects, but in this case, you are losing the control. So how I'm using AI, and this is why my channel AI Coding Daily in the description has specific description that the channel is not for vibe coders, it's for developers who want to use AI as a helper. So yes, you may see a lot of videos and stories how, like Spec Kit from GitHub, I think there are a few more tools which allow you to prepare specification for a project, which you then give to agent, and then agent magically generates the whole project for you. Yes, it may happen, but with so many mistakes along the way, or so many code that has been generated not according to your standards or guidelines. Usually vibe coders don't mention that because they don't really care about code quality that much. So for specification tools, I guess you can Google. There are a lot of examples from vibe coders, but I'm not in that area at all. And the last question, what do you see trending into 2026? I think the trending thing will be constant changes. I think we need to get used to models changed, IDEs change, some new leaders appearing, some new technologies appearing. The fast change of the tools is kind of number one thing of 2025, and it will not change in 2026. So if you're looking for like specific recipe what to use, I can give the recipe for today or for this week, and even that. I personally use 3 subscriptions: Cursor, Cloud Code, and Codex, and I switched between them depending on the task almost interchangeably. So in 2026, I think you should stick to one of them or max 2 and adopt that workflow for yourself, for your project or projects, and then master the workflow to get better results with your chosen IDE and models. And then as many changes as there are happening on the market, you don't need to follow them to the T. You don't need to change the model every time something new is released. Usually it's the hype, and whatever something really serious comes out, then it stays serious after a month, and then there's no big deal to switch a bit later when it's adopted more, with more tutorials, more reviews with pitfalls, and what generally to expect. So I guess in 2026 the only stable thing will be instability in AI, but this is the thing that we need to get used to probably. So yeah, I hope I answered most of the questions. If you have more, you can still ask them during your meetup, and then Bob will email me them and I will reply via email, which he would probably send to you somewhere or read during your next meetup. And finally, if you want to follow my news and AI Coding Daily not only on YouTube, every Wednesday I send a free newsletter. So this is the last issue at the time of shooting this video about Cloud Code Web, which I tried, Haiku new model, and a few more industry news. I usually send the links with my own comment or quoting someone around the news. So this is kind of summary of what happened in AI coding industry over that week. So go to aicodingdaily.substack.com and subscribe for free. That's it for this time, and see you guys in other videos.
Go home, folks.